So was it meaningful for you in your final start of the season to get your 200th strikeout?
Yeah. I mean, coming into the season, that's not anything that I had my sights set on. I've never been a huge strikeout guy. Towards the tail end of last year and into the start of this year, I could see my strikeout rate going up a lot higher. I was getting a lot more swing and miss. So, I mean, really up until the last handful of starts, I didn't really see it as, as a goal of mine or something attainable. But yeah, I mean, it's a great accomplishment. It's hopefully the first of many years that I've reached that mark. But yeah, the first one's always very special.
You had a lot of career bests this year. It seemed to be obviously a really good year for you. How would you assess your season, and what are you most proud of?
Yeah, I think I'm most proud of just posting up and taking the ball every fifth day. That's half the battle, for championship caliber teams and for winning teams is keeping your guys healthy and staying on the field. And I've dealt with my share of injuries in the past in my first handful of years in the big leagues. And over the course of the last 3 years, I don't think I've spent, hardly any time on the DL. And, a lot of that's, commitment to your program, to finding a routine, first off, that you feel works for you. And then committing yourself to that completely. And, days where you don't feel like you want to do anything, going and doing stuff anyway, because you have to, and at the same time, listening to your body. If it's telling you that you need a day, you need to take a breather, trusting yourself there that you can allow yourself. And I think all the work that you put in as a whole allows you to, give yourself those days off. Guys that aren't working very hard and you feel like you're slacking off, it's a lot harder to take those days when you feel like you need them. So if you're working hard and you're putting your nose down and working every day, then when those days come and you feel like you need a breather, you can, feel good giving yourself that rest. I feel like there's still room for improvement. I mean, it's by far the best that I've pitched, the most consistently I've pitched for a full season. But, I look at some of the starts that I had, and, the stretch at the middle of the season where I rattled off, 3 or 4 consecutive 4-run, 5-run outings. You go through those waves, throughout the course of a season, but looking back on it and seeing the way that I handled, the last handful of outings where I didn't have my best stuff and I managed a way to, to keep it at 3 runs or less. There's improvements that I can make, in those middle games that, you see when it comes down to the end of the season. It's usually a handful of games that separate it. A couple more of those games I can sharpen up, it might put us in a different situation at the 2-week, 3-week out mark. So, and I'm sure everybody would say the same. There's always points in the year that you find where you can improve and, be a little bit sharper. But overall, I made all my starts. I feel like for the most part, the quality was pretty good. And, I competed and tried to keep our team in games. Mindset a lot, the preparation coming into the season. I think a part of it too is just experience, I've gotten experience, the big league level from the bullpen, from the starting rotation, from a 100-loss team, from, a 100-win team. I've gotten a little bit of everything in the 5 years that I've played. And I think it's really just trying to, evaluate seasons that, as they come to an end and, pick the few things that I felt like added a lot of value to my season and into my routine. And then just continuous, growth throughout the off season of preparation, and especially with the trade, mentally preparing myself for what that was going to be like and what was going to come with that, and the distractions and the pressure and, all those things, and trying to channel them and use them, to my favor. But, physically, I think, I threw a lot more breaking balls than I have in the past. And, those have been really good weapons for me. And I know we talked after my first handful of starts, I think even after the no-hitter, about my usage and how I told you guys I didn't plan on throwing that many breaking balls all year long, but they were good. And, I was going to kind of ride those until I got the fastball going, and I happened to throw that many breaking balls throughout the whole year. So, there's weapons that, I'm not using this year like I used to. My sinker used to be, my bread and butter pitch. I didn't use that nearly as much as I would like to. The changeup was, hardly used at all this year. And when I did use it, it was getting hurt. I was giving up damage on it. So those are a couple weapons that I want to really improve on in the off season, and, try to, make my arsenal even deeper and, have more weapons to attack guys. But I feel like I really found a way to get lefties out well this year, with the usage of the cutter and the breaking balls. The backdoor cutter was a huge weapon for me this year to lefties. And then just, confidence. Like I said, the experience, helps you gain confidence. And when you're confident, it's hard to be beaten. You go out there and you trust everything that you're throwing. So I think a combination of a lot of things.
But how would you reflect on pitching for the Padres, pitching in San Diego this season, and what that meant to you?
Oh man, it was awesome. I think my results kind of speak for how I felt about it. I mean, you guys got the best out of me every fifth day. And it kind of re-sparked, my love for the game. Not to say that I didn't love it in my time in Pittsburgh, but being back in a competitive atmosphere with, big name players and guys that, are going to show up every single day. It's easy to get up for those games. So, and also the comfort of being in my own city. I got my routine that I have in the off season. I got to keep that intact. Spend more time with the family, spend time with my girlfriend. I have all my PTs and my trainers and my pitching coach that I grew up with in San Diego. So anything feels out of whack, I can, always get myself dialed in, from start to start. And a certain level of comfortability along with, a little bit of pressure and, fear of failing in front of my city and my fans and my family and everybody. So, just a combination of a lot of things.
When a manager's name is brought up in a sense of possibly losing their job, is that hard on players? Is that hard on the clubhouse?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a really good group of guys here all around, from players to coaches to manager. And you never want to see anybody, leave. And, we're not sure what the case is going to be with Jace this year, but, as players, you got to just, do what you can control, control the things that you can control. And our job is to go out there and play games and not decide who's coaching, who's managing. That's, kind of something that's left up to AJ and his team to decide who's going to make the decisions and who's going to, put guys in the right place to be successful. So that's something that I try not to concern myself with. I mean, yeah, like I said, you don't want to see any of your guys leave, especially when you feel like we had a good group that we just didn't, perform to the level that we're capable of. But it's not easy to see anybody go. I mean, I think we were more concerned about winning games than we were about who was in charge and who was calling the shots. That's everyone's been part of a team that's lost a manager or had a new manager come in or new coaches come in. And I think they'd all tell you that, their goal and their focus doesn't really change. Some people jive better and some people, blend better with certain coaches or certain managers, but I don't think it affects the effort level or the focus or the intent at all by any means. So, I guess we'll see what happens over the off season, but I don't think, you're going to see a whole different, spark of energy or life, should somebody new come in. I think it's just a tough year for us. And, I don't think anybody really had the answer. And like I said, if we did, we would have done what we could to fix it.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
And I want to say one more thing. Thank you guys. You guys have been awesome for me this year. I know your job's not easy, and so I always try to spend a few minutes with you, but I really appreciate you guys making it easy on me coming back home, man. I wanted to give a shout out to one player that I feel like doesn't get enough credit, and that's Nabil Crismatt for coming over and, coming from St. Louis and not knowing what his role was going to be and making the team and going up and down and finishing at the very top, I think behind only Stammen and innings pitched. And, I don't think he got enough credit for the innings that he ate and wore when it was, 10-run deficits for us. And he pitched 5-6 innings and threw 80+ pitches out of the bullpen and covered our ass. So I just want to say a quick shout out to him.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.